Picture this, it's 1704. In a dimly lit study surrounded by ancient manuscripts and the flicker of candlelight, a man sits hunched over a desk. His quill scratches feverishly across parchment as he deciphers ancient texts. This is Sir Isaac Newton, not as the scientist we know, but as a theologian consumed by a vision of the end times. His conclusion? The year 2060 AD. Welcome to Mysteries Decoders, the channel where we unravel history's enigmas and decode secrets that continue to shape our world. Today, we dive into Isaac Newton's chilling prediction of a 2060 apocalypse, a prophecy that has sparked debates for centuries and gone viral in today's digital age. Was Newton onto something profound? Or was it simply the musings of a restless genius? Let's decode. Isaac Newton is celebrated as one of history's greatest scientific minds. Born in 1642 AD, he revolutionized physics with his laws of motion and universal gravitation. But few know that nearly half of his writings were devoted to theology, biblical prophecy, and alchemy. Newton was deeply religious but unorthodox in his beliefs. He rejected the Trinity, a cornerstone of Christian doctrine, viewing it as a corruption introduced by early church councils. To him, Scripture was not just spiritual but also mathematical, a code waiting to be cracked. He approached biblical texts, like the Book of Daniel, with the same rigor he applied to calculus. For Newton, deciphering prophecy wasn't mere speculation, it was a scientific pursuit, an attempt to uncover divine laws governing both nature and history. Isaac Newton's prediction of 2060 as a pivotal year in human history wasn't a random guess. It was the result of meticulous calculations rooted in his interpretation of biblical prophecy and his deep understanding of historical events. At the heart of his work was a single cryptic phrase from the Book of Daniel, a time, times, and half a time. For Newton, this wasn't just a poetic expression, it was a mathematical code waiting to be deciphered. Newton used the day-year principle, a method popular among Protestant reformers to interpret prophetic days in Scripture as actual years. Based on this idea, the phrase time, times, and half a time was understood as 3.5 years. By multiplying 3.5 by 360 days in a year, Newton calculated 1,260 days, equivalent to 1,260 years. But the key question remained, where should this timeline begin? Newton's answer lay in his theological framework and historical reasoning. Like many Protestant theologians of his era, he believed the papacy represented the Antichrist described in the Book of Revelation. He viewed the Catholic Church's adoption of Trinitarian doctrine, the belief in God as three persons, as a corruption of early Christianity. To Newton, this marked the beginning of what he called an apostasy, or deviation from true faith. To pinpoint the start of this apostasy, Newton turned to history and identified 800 AD as a critical moment. This year marked the coronation of Charlemagne as Holy Roman Emperor, a symbolic fusion of church and state power in Western Europe. Newton saw this event as institutionalizing Trinitarian corruption within Christianity. In his own words, from his 1704 letter, if dated from the complete conquest of the Three Kings 800 AD, the end will end 2060 AD. By adding 1,260 years to 800 AD, Newton arrived at 2060 AD, a year he believed would mark not fiery destruction or planetary doom, but divine renewal. For Newton, this was not an apocalyptic end, but rather the beginning of a new era when Christ would return to establish a millennial kingdom on earth. However, Newton was careful to temper expectations. He wrote, "This I mention not to assert when the time of the end shall be, but to put a stop to the rash conjectures of fanciful men." Even as he calculated dates with precision, Newton acknowledged that human interpretation is fallible and that ultimate knowledge rests with God. For centuries after Newton's death in 1727, his theological writings remained hidden, overshadowed by his groundbreaking scientific achievements. It wasn't until Sotheby's auctioned off a collection of his manuscripts in 2003 that his now famous letter about 2060 resurfaced. This letter, written in Latin in 1704 AD and later translated, has since become the centerpiece of renewed global fascination with Newton's apocalyptic vision. Fast forward to February 2025, the letter has taken on new life in the digital age. TikTok videos hashtagged #Newton2060 have collectively garnered over 25 million views, with creators speculating on whether Newton's calculations align with modern concerns like artificial intelligence, climate change, or geopolitical instability. One particularly viral video overlays Newton's timeline with predictions about AI surpassing human intelligence by mid-century, sparking debates about whether we're approaching a technological reckoning. Another TikTok clip pairs excerpts from Newton's writings with footage of natural disasters, claiming these events signal the fulfillment of his prophecy. On YouTube, channels dedicated to historical mysteries and conspiracy theories have amplified the discussion. Recent uploads have reached over 1 million views in just a few days, analyzing how Newton's apocalyptic framework mirrors today's fears about societal collapse. Reddit forums like r/True Christian and r/Conspiracy Theories are abuzz with debates over whether Newton foresaw specific events like the rise of quantum computing or migration crises. Mainstream media outlets have also joined the conversation. Publications such as The Economic Times, The New York Post, and The Guardian have framed Newton as a scientist prophet, blending his theological insights with his scientific rigor. This portrayal has resonated deeply in an era marked by existential uncertainty, where questions about humanity's future loom larger than ever. Why does this centuries-old prediction resonate so profoundly today? Perhaps it is because Newton's vision reflects our own anxieties about technology, environmental collapse, and the fragility of human civilization. Newton's prophecy has sparked debates among theologians and historians alike. Roman Catholic scholars critique his historicist approach, the idea that biblical prophecy outlines specific historical events. Instead, they favor symbolic interpretations rooted in St. Augustine's teachings. Cardinal Gianfranco Ravasi argues that Newton's rejection of Trinitarian doctrine undermines his credibility as a theologian. Jesuit scholar Robert Daly adds that starting with Charlemagne overlooks earlier milestones like Nicaea in 325 AD. On the Protestant side, Baptist theologians like Albert Mohler dismiss date-setting altogether as speculative and unbiblical. They cite Matthew 24, verse 36, "No one knows the day or hour." Yet some Protestant thinkers admire Newton's intellectual devotion. Historian Andrei Tarpalaga notes, Newton labored to discover God's truth, whether in nature or scripture. In today's hyper-connected world, Isaac Newton's 2060 prophecy has become fertile ground for conspiracy theories, some imaginative, others outright bizarre. These interpretations often distort Newton's original intent but reveal much about modern cultural anxieties. One popular theory links Newton's prediction to the concept of technological singularity, the hypothetical point at which artificial intelligence surpasses human intelligence. Influenced by futurists like Ray Kurzweil, who predicts AI dominance by 2045. Conspiracy theorists argue that Newton foresaw humanity's merger with machines as a form of spiritual reckoning. Reddit threads speculate that his phrase "divine renewal" is a metaphor for humanity entering a post-human era dominated by AI. Others connect Newton's alchemical studies to hidden knowledge about advanced technologies. On platforms like TikTok and YouTube, creators claim that Newton's quest for Prisca Sapientia, the ancient wisdom of the divine, granted him insights into quantum physics or neural interfaces centuries ahead of their time. One popular theory claims that Newton hid apocalyptic timelines within his book Principia Mathematica, using gematria, a form of Hebrew numerology where letters, words, and phrases are given numerical values. Other groups have weaponized Newton's prophecy to support narratives about civilizational collapse. Some others have co-opted the prophecy into their labyrinthine worldview, alleging that 2060 marks the culmination of a globalist calendar tied to secret rituals. Such claims echo medieval blood libel tropes, illustrating how historical figures can be manipulated to serve modern conspiracies. Esoteric circles take a different approach, positing that Newton belonged to secret societies encoding apocalyptic knowledge into scientific laws. TikTok videos allege that his work at the Royal Mint, where he prosecuted counterfeiters, was a cover for controlling financial systems destined to collapse in 2060. These theories thrive not because they are grounded in evidence, but because they tap into widespread fears about the future. Ultimately, these conspiracy theories highlight humanity's enduring fascination with apocalyptic narratives, stories that promise clarity amid chaos but often reflect our deepest insecurities about what lies ahead. So why does Newton's prophecy endure? Perhaps because it bridges two worlds often seen as opposites, science and religion. In an age dominated by technology and skepticism, here is one of history's greatest scientists grappling with questions of faith and destiny. Newton reminds us that even geniuses wrestle with uncertainty, that they too seek meaning beyond what can be measured or calculated. As philosopher John Gray observes, Newton's 2060 endures because it mirrors our own crisis of meaning. A secular age clings to mystical deadlines. Isaac Newton's 2060 prophecy remains one of history's most fascinating enigmas, a testament to humanity's eternal quest for answers in both science and scripture. Was he right? Or was it simply an intellectual exercise born out of his time? What do you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed decoding this mystery, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Mysteries Decoders. Our community of inquisitive minds is only growing, and your voice is vital. Spread the word. Share this video with your friends, your skeptical colleagues, and family members who love unraveling mysteries like this one. Who knows what we'll decode next? Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay curious, stay questioning, and stay tuned to Mysteries Decoders.